Hi, my name's Mark, one of the pastors here at Trillium. The Grinch Stole Christmas. Probably many of you are familiar with it, the old animated flick from the 60s. There's a moment near the end of The Grinch Stole Christmas when the Grinch has stole everything of Christmas from Whoville. He's piled it on his sled and he's climbed to the very top of Mount Crumpet. And then he takes a moment to listen, because he's listening for the sobbing and crying, the misery from Whoville. He puts his ear out, waiting with a certain kind of joyous expectation for another person or community suffering. And he's shocked by what he hears. He hears the song of joy, the song of Christmas, the very sound he does not want to hear, the very sound that he doesn't expect to hear. He hears it wafting up to him. The Who's gather in the center of Whoville, they hold hands and they sing the song of Christmas with the same joy they would have sung on any Christmas morning. And symbolically, the star takes shape in the midst of them, and that joy, the love, the happiness rises up, and the spirit of Christmas has come. And it says in that moment that the Grinch puzzled. He tormented his puzzler, trying to figure out what had happened. I think a simple explanation from my point of view is that the happiness of the Who's and their understanding of how Christmas really works lived on the inside of them, not on the outside. It wasn't dependent on what happened on the outside of their lives, whether they had all the trappings of Christmas, whether they had all the presents, or whether they had disappeared. The true meaning of Christmas lived on the inside of them. They had the gift of perfect happiness in their lives as an extension of the perfect love that lived on the inside of them as well. And therefore, they were able to look out onto their world and see it as beautiful and blessed, no matter what the particular circumstances they may have encountered that morning. And as they say, it totally transformed the Grinch. It turned to be the moment of transformation in his own life. One of the challenges I think we have is we understand happiness from a worldly point of view, which means all the happiness is outside of us. And if good things happen to us, it may be able to come onto the inside of us and give us a state of mind called happiness. So if a good thing happens to us, then we are blessed, and that state of mind is happiness on the inside. And if a bad thing happens to us, the event of a bad thing becomes ultimately translated as an unhappy experience on the inside, and our state of mind is unhappiness. God's blessing to us today, I think, my understanding is that God wants to give us the spirit of happiness on the inside. Just like perfect love comes to live on the inside of us, so too must the spirit of perfect happiness come on the inside as well. And in fact, that perfect happiness begins to shape how we see life. And we begin to see life not from the outside in, but from the inside out. And our happiness moves outside of us and extends its blessing to everyone and everything we meet. I've always wondered what would have happened if the Grinch had also stole all the Who's children. Not just all the presents and trappings, but if the Grinch had managed to steal all the Who's in Whoville's, if they'd managed to steal all their children, what would have happened to the Who's song? Would they have still been able to sing that happy, joyous song they had sung that Christmas morning? The answer? I don't know. That would certainly be its ultimate test. I do believe that God wants to give us the blessing of happiness in our hearts so that it may shine out and extend its blessing to our neighbors, whoever they might be, whether they're people we know very well or people we're meeting for the first time. I do believe that God wants to give me the blessing of happiness so that I may be able to shape the world and touch the darkness of others' suffering and pain and bring about a new way of seeing life. God gives me an opportunity to extend my hands in love and bring the happiness of my heart out to my neighbor. And in doing so, I will join today with God's perfect happiness of salvation in this life.